Welcome to She Says with your host, Stephanie Regalado. She Says guests share stories from their challenges to successes and, most importantly, the journey of womanhood woven alongside the collaboration of sisterhood. From self, love, friends and family, to hot topics, career, and world views, Stephanie and her guests discuss matters with utmost openness and honesty. So let's hear what she says. Here's Stephanie.
Hello, welcome to She Says. I'm Stephanie Regalado. Happy New Year. It's our first time back since the holidays and everything. Super happy to have you with me, Renee Johnston Gingrich. I have been so fortunate the last week, I feel like, to have some intensive moments with you on Friday, an all-day goal setting, scheming, planning, dreaming retreat at the Davenport Grand, which was amazing to set aside that time. And then you were our guest speaker, keynote, last night at the NAVO Northwest meeting, speaking more about goal setting, et cetera. And I was like, I have to nab this woman while she's in Spokane, because I know you're flying all over the country.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been my pleasure, and I'm just happy you're not sick of me yet. So.
I think today I will be, and then we'll just take a break. No, absolutely not. So I love your approach to goal setting because you like to take a different shift. How do you like to approach?
Well, there are a couple of different approaches I think are important to take, and the one that primarily I took you guys through on our full day workshop retreat was very tactical. You guys brought the goals to the workshop. I suggested 5. And the theme or the emphasis for the year is balanced goal setting. So I wanted to be sure that you included some personal goals in there, not just professional. But at that point, then we just kind of systematically worked through those goals and took them through a four-step goal-setting process, and from vision to reality, working each one systematically through those steps. And of course, the beauty of it, as you know, because you were there, was it was very collaborative, and every woman in that room had this group of people who were inspired and motivated and interested in helping them succeed. So there was a lot of great brainstorming, a lot of great feedback.
Yeah, I would recommend that for anyone to get together with your girlfriend or a few of girlfriends to share those goals and work them out. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the systems to help really nail down the process instead of just writing down dreams and hoping you get there. But it was so exciting, more exciting to talk about other people's dreams, I think, than my own.
It is. And one of the things I think is so interesting is how, when you're listening to someone else talk about their dreams and their goals, how much of it resonates with you as well. They may be talking about something completely different from your area of focus, but there are little nuggets in there that are powerful for what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. So what last night, then you took us through, it was a different type of, similar but different. But I loved it because you recommend setting 5 goals. But can you take me through each of those goals is different? Instead of just 5 goals that you pull out of the earth, or the earth.
Okay.
It's a little too cold for gardening right now, but maybe the sky, your mind, whatever. But it gives you a subject to put a goal onto, which I love that.
Absolutely. So last night, again, you're right. I wanted to take a different approach. It wasn't, a tactical planning kind of. It was an hour where we just kind of envision and kind of get our mindset right for setting goals. So what I did was kind of propose this idea of goal setting with intention, and I suggested 5 different categories of of goals, of topics, and then asked each participant to come up with their own individualized example. And do you want me to go through those 5?
I would love, because that really helped me. It was different in addition to what we experienced, and people are probably like, stop talking about what you experienced. We want to know what to do now. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
But because I found it was so fun to think of those topical goals. Number one.
Goal category number one, and I will use the correct term here, I promise. The first type of goal I challenged everyone to set, and I challenge anyone who's listening to set, is to set one goal that scares the bleep out of you.
Yes.
You know, something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, way out of your comfort zone.
And any kind of bleep you want to choose.
Right. It could be a little delicate, soft bleep.
Yes.
It could be a big, get you fired up bleep, whatever works.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. And that's one of the things that we were talking about with a bunch of friends. And I keep talking about this. And I learned, it really stuck out to me on Friday, that there's this prehistoric part of our brain that wants to protect us. So anytime it feels a fear at all, it goes into the kind of that protection mode. So that makes a lot of sense why we don't always move out of what our comfort zone is. And our comfort zone can even be misery.
Absolutely.
It's just what we know, our body and our system and everything has come to know as our life, and that's our space. It understands that, it's processed it. And then thinking about anything out of that is where it raises a flag.
Absolutely.
But we're thinking about that's the prehistoric part of our brain, and we're not in caves with the saber-toothed tiger that can leap out and munch us up any longer.
Yes.
There's different versions of saber-toothed tigers, but
this is true.
In 21st century.
No, absolutely. And I think that just having, that visual really spoke to you, so that, the next time you or I are in a situation where we want to do something, we want to take something to the next level, and that little primitive part of our brain is trying to talk us out of it, you're like, okay, no saber-toothed tigers,
right.
let's do this. So it just, the different examples and analogies and strike us at different times and are more powerful and impactful, and I'm glad that one really kind of resonated with you, because I think it's a good clarifier.
Well, and I was reading, a lot of people are addressing fear right now, because anytime you're trying to make a transition, that's something that comes up. And I was listening to an Ashley Strahl podcast, and she was talking about fear as well. And she said, what are the fears? So if you change your job and the new job doesn't work out, then you have to find another job. Or if you do something and you run into financial trouble, so you have to adjust again there. If you decide that this maybe you want to take a risk on this new relationship and give this a chance, and it really doesn't work out. When you think about what could happen, none of it's saber-toothed tiger.
Right.
It's all stuff that you can just, okay, I'm here now, and I need to make another shift or another adjustment or transition.
Yes.
So it's not as just this profound thing that I want to say it paralyzes.
Right. We tend to build it up and make it bigger and scarier, even just from a logistical, realistic, how would I handle it or be able to navigate it standpoint. We pile so much emotion into it that it becomes, a big scary monster, when it may not be great, but we'll figure it out.
Right, exactly. What was the TEDx talk that you recommended, that we watched, and I would recommend to anyone? It's Patty.
It's Patty, and I can't think of her last name, but the title is Drawing Your Future.
Oh, right.
So if you look up TEDx Drawing Your Future, and I think it was a TEDx Rainier, so I believe it was over in Seattle. Yes. Easy to find on YouTube.
And I love what she said, because she says your brain understands what it's visualized. So what it sees in essence, it sees your life as it is now and how it has been up until now. Yes. And because she was talking about it's like two-dimensional, the way that we take in information, so our brain has to make up some of the in-between stuff.
Yes. And so it guesses. Wasn't that fascinating?
Yeah, so it kind of guesses by what it knows, its filtering systems and everything. So she took us through, and at first I was like, oh, come on. Draw where you feel you are now. I'm like, I'm not drawing anything right now.
I know, when I break out the Crayola markers, I always get some, like, seriously?
But once you allow yourself to kind of draw what you're feeling and where you are now, and then, like you said, and like she says in the TEDx video, to just start drawing a moment where you like to envision yourself without anything holding you back, nothing at all. Break it all away, totally dream of what that ideally would look like, and then add the color and everything, because when your brain can see it, it also can believe it as a reality that it's experiencing.
Yes, yes, and as
In
you're
essence.
creating it,
Yes.
you're drawing it.
Yeah.
There's some part of you that's more fully investing in making it a reality.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we spent a lot of time on number 1.
Okay.
But number 2.
Okay, the second goal category was a practical one. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm very practical.
Yeah.
Set one goal that will improve your circumstances. Okay,
That's
just
nice.
something that just is going to improve daily life, paying off some debt or finishing a side project that's been kind of nagging at you and you just
Yeah.
need to get it handled type of thing.
Right, exactly. One of mine was super simple. Just make sure I'm staying up on dishes. Sounds really stupid and bad,
No.
but no, it's truly sometimes I'm like, that's the last thing I want to address right now.
Absolutely.
And, but it makes me feel so much better, and it truly does improve my daily circumstances when I feel like my home is clean
Yes.
and tidy and things are in
Yes.
its place. Okay, number
Yes, that's a big one.
3.
Our third goal category that we talked about last night, and
Yeah.
I'll share this morning, is set one goal that involves, and this was my favorite, set one goal that involves letting go of something. Right? And I think it was interesting too because more people in the room opened up on that
That was a big one.
goal than
Yeah.
any of the others. I mean, I think they all struck a chord to some degree, but this one resonates pretty universally. We all have things we've been hanging on to. Maybe they're resentments or anger or grudges or whatever, but it might be expectations of ourselves or someone else as well.
Yeah.
And just kind of thinking, all right, I've been dragging that around long enough.
Yeah.
And can I share my Buddhist
Yes.
quote?
Yes,
Because
yeah.
I love that. And the way I kind of framed it to wrap up thinking about how we go about setting this goal was with a Buddhist quote that says, if you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really beautiful.
That's pretty amazing, and sometimes we don't even realize what's actually weighing us down. We think we've got it. I remember one time, not that long ago, someone was asking me how I was doing, and you seem less stressed and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got it. I'm just fine. I was like, well, no, I don't, because I'm handling it in ways that aren't healthy for me. It's just changing it from this to another challenge. But really, it was cool to hear and inspiring to hear all the different ways that people were coming up with things that they wanted to let go of. One was a mom who just wanted to let go of how her child was showing up in life in a way. So she's not always there trying to manage it all and micromanage and
Yes.
understanding that this is a human that's going to make their own choices and there'll be consequences, and she'll still be there for that child, but to kind of let go of that
I know it isn't.
constant worry and concern.
Isn't that something we've all been guilty of from time
Yeah.
to time, whether it's a mother
Right.
to a child or a child to a mother or father or
any relationships.
Yes, and you keep expecting this person to be a certain way or to show up a
Yeah.
certain way, and it continually in a pattern is not meeting those expectations, so you are constantly allowing yourself to be disappointed about it.
Right.
And so the letting go of that expectation can be so liberating.
Yeah, another one was letting go of just forgiving, in a sense, then really leaning into the forgiveness of the things that you're hanging on to that have upset you or hurt you or offended you and such. I think that's a huge one that could set all of us free.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing if we really took a deep dive into our psyche, we could find places where we need to tweak that a little bit and try to just let go a little bit more, ease the pressure.
Yes, yeah, and that one definitely got I think people thinking and talking last night as well. It's one of those where you really have to be honest and self-aware and objective about where you are on that scale. Have I really let this go? Have I really forgiven that? Have I really given up that expectation?
Yeah, and at the core of all of this, these goal settings and planning with intention, et cetera, has to do with our internal circumstances. It isn't about what you can control about others, because we can't control a darn thing.
Right.
Or we have minimal control in certain things, but really to look inside of ourselves and see what we can clean up and let go and allow grace within ourselves, so you can kind of have that clean slate to build from.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise it's kind of like the analogy of the rocky foundation when you're trying to build keep building your life, but you have all these things. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with a couple more categories and some other tips. So we will see you after a quick message from our sponsors.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Custom lighting in the kitchen.
I'm into it.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and the description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
Welcome back to She Says. I'm Stephanie Regalado with Renee Johnston-Gingrich, and we moved on to goal category 4.
Okay, goal category 4. Set one goal that is just for you. That was the recommendation. Set one goal that is just for you. Not an easy one for women to do. We want to make sure that everything we're doing is universally beneficial to spouses and children and everyone that we encounter. And as I mentioned, last night, there's very little we're ever going to do for ourselves that doesn't have a positive ripple effect to the people around us.
Yes.
But my challenge was to really just not think about that aspect and think about something that you really have been wanting to do or accomplish just for you.
I thought that was an easy one until I started dissecting each of those, because it was tied to something. It wasn't, it's like, oh wait, that isn't just for me. Granted, any interpersonal or self-care and love and improvements effect, like you said, it's the ripple effect, but really just that anything for you. And that was a quieter one for people to share about.
It makes people a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It starts thinking, well, that's selfish, or that's greedy, or and we have 5 goal categories here, and there are a million categories of goal. We only are looking at 5. We're only talking about one. It's just for you.
Yes. And I would say if anyone struggles with that, just go with the girl trip.
Yes. The universal answer to category number 4.
Because that's the one that's delighted me most when you think about there's freedom in that, because you're spending time with friends. So it doesn't feel 100% selfish, but I've spoken about that so much on this podcast and everything I do. There isn't anything like what a tribe can do for you.
Indeed.
That trusting tribe of people. It could be one person, or it could be 10 or whatever a tribe is. But having women in your life have your back and understand that we're all rising at the rate of one another, and we are responsible for one another that way. And
absolutely.
And
that's one of the things I thought was so, powerful about the goal setting workshop on Friday, or a format like that, and anyone can do it, and there are many opportunities to participate in something like that.
Yeah.
But that forum where you have a group of inspired, powerful women supporting each other and encouraging each other, whether it's an organization or just a church group or whatever it might be, that allows you to have that experience, I think it's just invaluable.
Well, absolutely. And you understand that whatever we have a cap on ourselves, whether we see it or not. And hearing other people's goals, especially when they come out pretty bold, it gives you permission to be bolder than you've ever been before.
Isn't that true?
And you kind of like I said, we rise together. You just kind of keep upping each other's game, and you're rooting for one another and planning to support one another through that and check in about those goals. Because that's the other thing. Once you speak it out into existence, it's other ears have heard it.
Yes.
It becomes a reality and a path that you're on.
Yes, it really does, and that support and those people checking in helps you hold yourself accountable, and then of course you get the encouragement from it as well. So it's it really is a win-win.
Absolutely. Okay, number 5.
Oh, our last goal category is set one goal that speaks to your heart. There's something out there with, I'm sure most of us, all of us, I would probably even dare to say, that pulls at our heartstrings, whether it's getting more involved with a cause or spending more time with an individual or helping out someone, a family more, even developing a part of yourself more fully. It could be any particular cause, project, person. Just, again, it's what is out there that is pulling at your heartstrings.
Yeah, what is something that makes you feel what do you feel tender toward, and you want to rise? And that can even be, you talked about the interpersonal part, that can even be a creative project.
Absolutely.
There's nothing tied to it whatsoever, except you're going to allow yourself that space to truly be tender toward yourself to create something, or there's a passion deep down inside of you that, whether that's writing something or creating art or who knows what.
A great scene in the movie The Family Stone.
I love that movie.
Oh, I do too. It's just ridiculous how much I love it. But where she's describing this artist who carved a totem pole, and he had never carved anything in his entire life, but he just felt he had this in him and had to do it. And she was just great. Yeah, it was a beautiful story. And as you're talking about it being a creative project, that's that story comes to mind because it's just something you just feel compelled to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, and now once you have all those goals written, there was the process. Yes. And I think for time savings, the process that you shared last night, which is really tidy, would be good to share.
Absolutely. Just 4 quick steps. The first one is exploring your why, which means are these goals in line with my intention? The second is apply the action items and resources. I mean, what do you physically need to do to make this happen?
Yes.
The third is holding yourself accountable. That means attaching deadlines, time frames, all that. And then also giving you the freedom and flexibility for revision along the way. And the fourth and final step that you're taking all of these goals through is to celebrate your success.
Absolutely.
Even progress toward the goal. It doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all accomplishment of the goal, but celebrate your milestones along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important, the celebrating, just even something small along the way.
Absolutely.
Where you can honor that progress. The other thing about holding yourself accountable and being flexible, I think it's important for us to know that and remind ourselves that when you make these goals, it's not this finite experience that you fail or succeed at.
That's really important.
I don't think there's ever failure at it. Even if you have time frames, et cetera, or goals, there's so much, there's life beyond it. It keeps going. So keep that goal. Obviously, it was important and it meant something to you to create, but keep working at it. Because a couple of the women that were at the workshop on Friday were at a workshop with you a year ago, and they had some carryover goals, but they didn't feel like that was a failure whatsoever. It was just like, yep, and these are the goals I'm carrying over to
I had carryover goals from last year, absolutely. And yes, I think you're right. A big part of that accountability piece is giving yourself a little grace and breathing room in the achievement. You want to have some structure because it kind of keeps you on track.
Yes.
But, I think it works against you if there's some part of this process that you are going to that you're fearing the failure of not meeting the goal, then it works completely.
And I think that's sometimes where we don't set goals super high and bold and crazy by maybe other people's standards, because there's that fear of not ever Right, but bust through that because there's no saber-toothed tigers anymore.
Yes, and think of what you might achieve along the way.
Oh,
Even
yes.
if you don't get to 10,
Yeah.
think of all the cool things you achieved between 5 and 8.5.
I love a quote. It's something that on the lines of something like, this might not work out, but this might be the best adventure ever.
Yes.
I love that sort of thing. So we have to wrap up, but you own Employee Engagement Solutions. You're a phenomenal coach and consultant all across the U.S. In 1 minute, how are you rocking that business? What are you looking for? Because I know you want to infuse more into our region as well.
Typically I travel to clients all around the country, looking to, would of course love to do work regionally. I love it when I don't have to get on a plane.
Yes.
And what we really focus on at Employee Engagement Solutions is we focus on improving culture, retention, and profitability through building more engaged teams. So whether you're a management team or a team of executives and you feel like you could be better equipped to build an engaged team and a stronger team, and it yields incredible results. The engagement levels, the statistics, and the tangible results are, money in your pocket.
Absolutely.
And it also, improves the day to day. And most of us spend a whole lot more time of our time at work than we do anywhere else. So
Absolutely.
It's really important.
Yes. Well, thank you for being here and sharing these ideas. I love what you have going on. It's helped me wrap my mind around goal setting in a more tangible, actionable way, intentional way. And I definitely hope that you are invited to a lot of different companies around the region and across the U.S. because I've been to a lot of your trainings, and it truly is when you feel that your company wants to invest in you that way as well and helping you grow individually and as a team member. It's such an incredible thing for business, for people, for business, for
it really is. And those
community.
are the kind of companies and organizations we like to partner with, are the ones that really understand that value. May I say our website?
Yes.
If you're interested in finding out any more information about it, it's really easy to find. It's just employeeengagementsolutions.com. I mean, it's not. It's a lot to type, but you only have to
once
type
you're there.
it once.
Yes. Thank you so much, Renee.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today at She Says, and we will see you next week.
She Says is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content.